subsidy, so you would still get a monthly reimbursement for having that child in your home, so you would still have financial support.
And how long would this support go on?
The support goes on until the child becomes 18, becomes an adult.
And at this moment that the child is yours and it's adopted, it's not no longer foster.
That's right, exactly.
And you still would get that support.
Definitely.
Oh, well, and that's not actually, it wouldn't be called welfare, nothing like that.
No, it's just called an adoption subsidy.
Wow, okay.
There are currently 8,700 children in Union County, in New Jersey rather, who are in the foster care system, 600 of which are in Union County. So I mean, the need is great. Luckily, a large percentage of kids do get reunified with their families, but for the children that don't, to know that they can be adopted and still have support from the state is wonderful.
Okay,
We at Catholic Charities don't specifically have a program called Foster to Adopt, but many of our foster parents do adopt once parental rights are terminated, and the process would be pretty much the same, exactly like Stacy said.
okay. Now, all right. What about those kids that's left in the system because they're not being adopted? What happens to them, and where do they stay? I mean,
Well, foster parents obviously can keep children in their home up through the age of 18. Just before children turn 18, they're actually given the choice of whether they would like to sign on and maintain services through possibly 21 years old.
okay.
So they can still say, you know what, I know I'm 18, but I still need support.
Okay.
So they would still get, health insurance and financial support with the foster parent.
Okay, but those kids there are some kids that's not even taken in as foster kids. All right. What do y'all have a foster house for them, or where are they located?
Well, those children are usually still in the custody of the state, so they can either be in shelters or they may be in temporary placements. But the goal really is to have them in, a permanency plan for them, whether that to be in a foster home or in an adoptive home.
Oh, okay, well that's good and everything. All right, and you have babies, you say?
We do, yes. Many of our infants are in the hospital, coming from the hospital, and our school-age children generally are coming from a program either of a group home or a program like Stacy's where they need additional services and in-home counseling.
All right, so if someone got let's say a 6-month-old baby,
Okay.
and they have foster parenting for 2-3 years, what happens if the mother decides at that moment to come back?
Well, she couldn't really just come back. Throughout the course of those 2-3 years, there would have to be some contact. The child has a caseworker, mom would have a caseworker, and there would be a plan not only for the child but also for mom to be able to take the right steps to be reunified with her child. So in 2 years, mom couldn't just say, "Here I am. I'm going to take my child now."
No, because I on the news, I think it was 2020 where this couple had adopted a Chinese baby, and they got the baby from China, and then the young lady was 7, 8 years old, and they came back.
One of the biggest differences between adopting privately, like through an agency, and adopting through foster care or through the state system is that once parental rights are terminated, they're terminated. You can't come back.
Can't come back in.
You can't. That's probably one of the biggest difference. In addition to, with a private agency, there's generally a fee associated with adoption. There is not a fee associated with adoption when you're doing it through the state or through one of our organizations.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good thing. In terms of those that still left in the shelter or whatever, how is their life structured in terms of school and things of that nature?
Well, I don't believe either of us has a shelter through our own programs,
No.
but the state has different shelters in different counties. But children, just because of a state mandate, they need to receive education. So they are still receiving education and, meeting with, I guess, tutors or going to schools.
Right.
So it's mandatory for them to still receive an education.
Oh, okay. So in other words, you guys don't actually have the shelters.
No, we don't. The only the shelter that we have at the Plainfield area YMCA is an adult and a family shelter. It's not for, unaccompanied minors.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good thing. We're gonna break for commercial now and then come back in a minute.
If you grew up in a loving family, perhaps it's something you take for granted. Parents always there for you, maybe a sister or brother too. That's how it's
We're
intended
gonna talk
to be.
about next support of the kids
kids have nowhere to go. They range from babies to teenagers. A lot of them have been hurt or neglected.
What about some
All of
success
them need your help.
stories?
Oh yeah, you could,
Yeah.
Family, but worry about
Definitely.
coping with challenges. As a foster family, you receive a monthly stipend, 24-hour access to a
So this is what you
clinic,
guys
in-home
can
counseling,
commercialize.
Yeah, as I'm like listening to it, I'm like,
medical and social
slowly but surely.
The Diocese of Metuchen,
Took
Washington.
us a while too.
Yeah.
To become a foster family, call our hotline at 866.
There's so much you want to do, you can't do it all at
That's
once.
866-247-HOME.
Yeah, people to donate it.
Call 866-247-HOME and give a child a chance
I'm sure they
to
can
make
do
it
something
life.
for you.
Paid for by
Yeah.
Catholic Charities,
I
Diocese
would
of
do that.
Metuchen.
That'd be good for you. Okay, we're back. This is the Town Talk with Reverend Zachariah A. Jackson. And we have the Plainfield YMCA adopted program here with Stacy, and we have the Catholic Charities with Jennifer. And we're talking about now, we're going to talk about the success stories of the kids that's in the foster care. You want to start?
Sure. Well, we have many success stories. We have many success stories of children that have been adopted by foster parents and have been given forever families, as they call them, where with so many adoptions that have taken place. We also have a lot of success stories of children being reunified with their birth parents, and of foster parents still being able to be involved in the children's lives through
Okay.
that. We had one birth father who had given one of the foster moms a call and asked her to be the godmother of one of our infants in the program. The child was going to be christened, and she was asked to be the godmother so she can still attend birthday parties, be an aunt, babysit, be a support system for dad. We've had foster parents invite birth parents into their home and work with the child on doing their homework, making lunch for the next day, ironing clothes, so that the child can begin again to get used to the daily routine of mom being there, and also to see that I love my foster mom because she's been taking care of me, but
Sure.
this is my mom. I love her too, and they can get along. I can love both of them. There doesn't really have to be a struggle. We had another child who, when he came to us, I believe he was 15. He came to us and tried as he might, he wanted to leave that home that he was placed in, and you know, why was that home any different? Why were they going to care for him? And the more he tried to leave, the more they kept him, and the more they loved him and really tried to work with him. And he stayed there for 2 years, and when he turned 18, he joined the military and considers them mom and dad now.
Wow, wow, that's a good story. And what about you, Stacey?
Well, you know, the Y has been doing foster care now for 21 years, so we are very lucky to have a number of success stories.
Sure.
We have a foster parent that's been with us for the full 21 years,
Okay.
and she's serviced pretty much over 300 children in that time. And currently, she has a young lady who, even though she's 18, she's, you know, signed on to remain, you know, with services. And she gets up and she goes to college every day at all 3 campuses of UCC. She works at the Y, and she's really just a role model for other children.
Sure.
On the last day of training, every time we do foster care training, they come in and they talk about what it's like to be a foster parent and a foster child. And for me, that's probably the most powerful part of the entire training.
Sure.
We've been very lucky. We have a foster parent who has adopted 5 children,
Wow.
and they all have different medical needs or different, you know, issues that they work on. And she is committed, and now that they're adopted, she also homeschooled them. So I mean, she takes, you know, every day and works with them.
So she's really deeply involved.
She is deeply, deeply involved. You know, and she's actually looking probably to take one more child. So I mean, she is.
And she's here in Plainfield.
She's actually right in Middlesex, so
Okay.
she's right, you know, right around the corner from us. And we actually have a little boy who's going to be leaving tomorrow to be reunited with his dad. And what they do is they work, you know, he's been spending weekends with his dad so he can really start to transition. But he will call the birth parents and say, I'm in the supermarket and, you know, I'm looking for, so they're really able to help him. He's not embarrassed. He knows that he has a resource there.
Sure.
And then the foster parents know that they can always have contact with him. So, you know, unfortunately, so many times we read the negative stories about kids in placement.
Sure, sure.
And we've been real lucky, you know, to lately really be getting the word out about all the great things that are happening in foster care.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there are great things that happen. Everything is not bad. You know, you hear the stories and people just run with it. They don't even want talk about nothing else. The ugliness of the thing, and we sure that